Hi folks, I hope that you guys are doing pretty well. So today is Sunday, the 2nd of March 2025, and in today's video I'm going to be offering commentary on Psalm 147, okay? Now yesterday I did a video on Psalm 146 and I linked all these prophecies here with prophecies in the Bible. Now what's different with Psalm 147 is that many of the verses here are just general statements. Some of them you can link them up with other verses in the Bible. Some of them you can't. And so I decided to offer Bible commentary on the main verses, which are quite significant in terms of the prophecies. Okay. Now, and so like always, I do have a program. It's not very long today, folks. It's only just 2 pages. So hopefully this video will be done in 10 minutes, I will say. Okay. So, and I'll give you a bit of a scan afterwards. Alright, so Psalm 147 is actually a multi-dispensational psalm. Okay, let me show you my program. It's a multi-dispensational psalm which belongs under the law, under the church age today, as you'll see in a moment, and also for the Millennium Kingdom, in other words, for the second coming of Jesus. Okay, now on verse 1, okay, when you read this verse, it says here, "Praise you the Lord, for it is good to sing praises unto our God, for it is pleasant, and praise is comely." Now you will find normally these statements in many other psalms as well. For example, like have a look at Psalm 146. Okay, praise you the Lord. Have a look at Psalm 148 again. Praise you the Lord. And have a look at Psalm 149. Praise you the Lord. Okay, so we should always be praising the Lord and giving Him thanksgiving, especially for all the believers. Now, on my program here, where it is here, praise you the Lord. Okay, I put down praise you the Lord appears on many Psalms, like I just showed you, like example Psalm 146, 148, 149, and 150. Okay, and so on. Praising the Lord and giving thanksgiving is something that believers should do every day. Okay, so we should always praise the Lord. Okay. Now, what's interesting then about this Psalm 47 is actually this second verse here, which is a multi-dispensational prophecy, where it reads, "The Lord does build up Jerusalem; He gathereth together the outcasts of Israel." Now, in order to decipher this prophecy, which is multi-dispensational, then you really have to think about the history of Israel and what they went through in terms of building up Jerusalem, And so, briefly, I'm going to go through here on my program why this verse 2 is actually a multi-dispensational prophecy that is actually under the law. It's actually for today, the church age, and also for the Millennium Kingdom. How so? Okay. Now, the reason that this is actually a multi-dispensational prophecy is, think of King David, okay, conquering the Jebusites, as per First Chronicles chapter 11, okay. And then think of King Solomon building the first temple, okay. Thus, this is about rebuilding of Jerusalem, okay. So yeah, think of King Solomon building the first temple, as per First Chronicles chapter 28. Then forward into the history of Israel. Think of the history of Israel, the rebuilding of the second temple after the Babylonian exile. Okay. Then moving forward, that's where I put the arrow. Think of the degree of Cyrus. Okay. See Ezra chapter 1. Also have a look at the book of Nehemiah. Think of Zerubbabel and Joshua the high priest in Haggai chapter 2, etc. Okay, this is just a brief history regarding the build-up of Jerusalem according to this prophecy on verse 2, okay? Just to recap, okay? And now in recent times, think of Israel becoming a nation in 1948 and capturing all of Jerusalem in the 1967 war, especially East Jerusalem, okay? Soon, Israel is going to be rebuilding the third temple, okay? Will be rebuilt according to Isaiah chapter 2, verse 2, and also according to Micah chapter 4, verse 1. Now, the fourth temple in the future will be rebuilt according to Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 18, according to Ezekiel 48, verses 30 to 35, Zechariah chapter 2, verse 2, and me, Gabriel, in Acts 15, or agreeing with Acts chapter 15, verses 15 and 16. Okay, so this has been kind of like a brief history of Israel, if you like, building up Jerusalem. Okay, so this is kind of like the brief historical account. Okay, that's why this prophecy here in verse 2, the Lord does build up Jerusalem. You have to think of it as in the historical context of Israel, rebuilding, the first temple, the second temple, the third temple soon, and in the future, the fourth temple. Okay. So, just before I proceed, and then that's kind of like the first part of the prophecy. The Lord does build up Jerusalem, and I just show you the historical account. But then we got this second bit here, which says, He gathers together the outcast of Israel. So it's pretty much the same, it's the same historical account, Now, because if you think about the historical account, it was to do with the building up of Jerusalem, the first and the second temple, the third, and the future fourth temple. Now, the important thing is that in the future, into the millennial kingdom about Jesus' second coming, then Jesus, upon his second coming, is going to gather together the outcasts of Israel once again, for the coming, for the second coming of Jesus, And some of the prophecies that link this together with this prophecy include Isaiah 27, verse 6, Isaiah chapter 35, verse 10, Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 10, and Jeremiah 30, verse 18. Also see Jeremiah 31, verses 8 and 9, and also verse 11 is part of this chapter 31. See Hosea chapter 3, verse 5, and also Hosea 6, verses 2 and 3, and also Micah chapter 4, verses 6 and 7, to name a few. Okay. So this is some of the prophecies in which Jesus is going to gather the outcasts of Israel upon his second coming. If you were to think about, the prophecies of, when King David, overcome the Jebusites and so on, and then King Solomon, build the first temple and so on, then read First Chronicles, Second Chronicles, read the Book of Kings and so on, and then, like I said before, regarding the history of Israel, with the second temple, when the Jewish people come back from exile, from the Babylonian exile, think of Nehemiah, think of Zerubbabel, I think of Joshua the high priest, okay? That was to do with the rebuilding of the second temple and so on, okay? Verse 3 then, in here it reads, He healeth the broken in heart and bindeth up their wound. So this prophecy here is actually linked up with Psalm 36:8 and also Psalm 29:11, okay? So I can probably quickly show you at least Psalm 36:8 since we are here in the book of Psalms already. So we're almost there, folks. Just a few more pages. Okay, so head over to Psalm 36, verse 8. They shall be abundantly satisfied with the fatness of thy house, and thou shalt make them drink of the river of thy pleasures. Okay, so that's when you think about it. This is actually healing. It's healing the broken in heart. Okay, it's healing the broken in heart because they shall be abundantly satisfied with the fatness of thy house. Okay, so that's what I put down for this verse 3. Now, verses 4 then all the way to 11 are general statements. Now, some of them you can link them up with other verses in the Bible. Okay, some of them you can't. Some of them are fairly new, but some of them you can't. Okay, he telleth the number of the stars. He calleth them all by their names. Great is our Lord and of great power. His understanding is infinite. Okay, so these are mainly general statements, and like I said, some of them you can't link them up with other verses in the Bible. Okay, so verses 4 to 11 are general statements, and some of these verses you can link up with other verses in the Bible. Now, I didn't do this because it's gonna make for a very long video, and it's gonna be quite tedious linking them all up. Okay, basically you have to search all the Bible, you know. Now, of interest is actually verse 12. Okay, praise the Lord, O Jerusalem, praise thy God, O Zion. Now, you can probably read this as a general statement, but it actually rings well with Zechariah chapter 14, verses 16 and 17. Okay, so for verse 12, where it reads, praise the Lord, O Jerusalem, praise thy God, O Zion. It links really well with Zechariah 14, verses 16 and 17, or Jesus' second coming, where everybody's just going to have to go up to worship Jesus in Jerusalem. Okay, so let me show you Zechariah 14. Give me one sec, folks. I don't have a page marker, that's the problem. Okay, so here we go, Zechariah. Head over to chapter 14 and look into verses 16 and 17. Okay, it shall come to pass that everyone that is left of all the nations which come against Jerusalem shall even go out from Israel to worship, okay, the King, the Lord of hosts, and to keep the feast of tabernacles, okay. And it shall be that whoso will not come up of all the families of the earth unto Jerusalem to worship the King, the Lord of hosts, even upon them shall be no rain. So the fact that everyone has to come and worship, like it says here in Zechariah 14, verses 16 and 17, has to come and worship the Lord. Then this verse 12, we can link it up with Zechariah 14, okay? Everybody's going to have to praise the Lord, okay, in Jerusalem, okay? You know, then verses 13 and 20 are also general statements in which some of them can be linked to other verses in the Bible, okay? So when you go back here to Psalm 147 and you begin to read from verse 13 onwards, okay, all the way to verse 20. Some of them you can, some of them I suspect that you probably won't be able to according to my study of the Bible, okay. Let's just read one here, Isaiah 14, he maketh peace in thy borders and filleth thee with the finest of wheat. I'm sure that I can find a Bible verse to link this with. He sendeth forth his commandment upon the earth. His word runneth very swiftly. Yeah, I can probably link this to something in Genesis, you know, the creation of the earth. He giveth snow like wool, he scattereth the hoar frost like ashes. Yes, God is in control of the weather. There are a few verses in the Bible I can probably link that with those. He casteth forth the ice like monsoon. Who can stand before his cold? So this is a general statement. I'm not sure that I can find another verse in the Bible. But anyway, you get the idea, you know. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say, folks. So as not to keep this video long, the main thing to take up from this video is that we need to think that verse 2 is actually a multi-dispensational verse that applies under the law, under the church, and also for the millennial kingdom. And really, for verse 2, we have to think about the history of Israel and how Israel ended up building up Jerusalem. Okay, and like I said earlier, you need to think about King David when he conquered the Jebusites, as per First Chronicles chapter 11, and it began really from there. And then also think about the decree of Cyrus, for Israel to rebuild the second temple after the Babylonian exile. Or, you know, think of Nehemiah, Zerubbabel, and Joshua, the high priest. You can read this in Haggai chapter 2, how Zerubbabel was in charge of, rebuilding the second temple, if you like. And then in recent times, think of Israel becoming a nation in 1948 and so on. So we're going to be seeing the rebuilding of the third temple. And then upon Jesus' second coming, the fourth temple will be revealed if you read Ezekiel chapter 48 verses 30 to 35, Zechariah chapter 2 verse 2, and so on. Okay, all right, folks, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you all later.